we had the chance to turn the pages over. We can write what we wanna write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much older.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shelley Tasker Show here, coming live from radiosoapbox.com and also airing on Clear Air FM, I should say, the sound of freedom.
Yeah, got an absolutely sparkling show for you guys this evening. Glad to have you all here.
This time, we know we all can stand together. With the power to be powerful.
Let's talk about conspiracy theories. The rapture of the church. False news. It didn't happen yesterday, that's for sure.
The assassination of people from an angle that you've never seen before. Wow, it's been an exciting week actually. It's been playing on my mind a little bit.
A 22-year-old has been named and shamed. I wonder why. This week's shock horror story from Cornwall.
Oh, sounds bad. And other losses. Anyone ever heard of other losses? We're going to be covering some of that on the every other week when Shelley takes an early hiatus from the show. She loves her hiatus. And an awful lot more to come. Maybe even a surprise guest. I wonder who it could be.
Ooh. Oh my God. I'm sorry if you heard that. Good evening again, everybody. You are listening live via radiosoapbox.com and also being aired on Clear Air FM, the sound of freedom. Good evening, Mr. Scott.
Good evening, Mrs. Tasker. God, you were cutting it fine this evening. I was getting a bit sweaty there, wondering if you were even going to show up before the beginning of the hour.
Oh, don't. I've had a panic on. I've done something. No, I know, but...
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Oh, crikey. Mallificus. I'd like to say it's been an amazing day, and I put a post on TikTok earlier, which I found quite entertaining, and this guy has shared it and blatantly calling me out for child abuse and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to delete the video, and my daughter's messaging me saying, "Have you deleted the video?"
Oh my word. Oh my word, really?
Oh, it's like COVID times all over again. It just makes me think, don't post anything controversial. I can't cope with the hate. I'll tell you what it was. Basically, you know, I have my granddaughter every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it would be fun today. I thought I'd get a bit creative. And when we're out talking, oh, this is a 5G tower. And just getting her to say it, is it child abuse? I was just like, you know, she doesn't really know what I'm saying. And
you're not lying. It's a 5G tower.
I know. Well, what I did was I did a little video of her. And I said, see that crisscross in the sky, Phoebe? I said, that's a chemtrail. Can you say it? She said, chemtrail. And then that was it. It's a 20-second video. And it had about 4 horrible comments. But this guy has tracked me down on Facebook, shared it and put my name saying how disgusting I am and everything like that. And it's just made me feel sick. So I've literally... just the last 2 minutes, my daughter's messaging me saying, have you moved it? Have you taken it down? But people are vile, aren't they?
Yeah, keyboard warriors, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no worse warrior in the world is someone that cowers behind their screen and a keyboard and wants to be judged. You know, look, there's an old saying, right, that people that judge don't understand. And people that understand don't judge.
What a good quote. I like that. But
Yeah.
he's got a massive following called Chemtrails Debunked. I've just had a really quick look.
Oh, well, there we go.
Oh,
there
my
we go. So
God.
he's already got an agenda at foot, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
I was having this conversation. We actually did a bit of a show. I had Rhinelander on while you were on hiatus. One of the many, folks. But I had him on, and we were talking about there was a £51 million grant given to Exeter University to explore the possibilities of, reducing the rays of the sun. Right. So this is being put out there. This is all being put out there. Nothing in politics happens by accident. Don't forget. Right. So I had my mate Rhinelander on to discuss this. Right. Because he's not a chemtrail advocate unless it's a military plane. And I think there's a simple reason for this. Right. And that is commercial airliners are essentially the commercial airlines are taxed to the hilt. Why do you think you have to have a certain size hand luggage and it can't be over a certain weight, etc., etc., etc.? The reason being is that you have to calibrate the amount of fuel you need for each journey and all that kind of thing, taking into consideration weather conditions, temperatures, blah 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 blah. So to spray anything up in the sky from a commercial jetliner is nigh on impossible because of the sheer volume of tanks you would need in an aircraft to make any bloody difference whatsoever. And I've heard all the nonsense, but it's mixed in with the jet fuel. Nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. Aviation fuel, all right, it's not the cleanest fuel in the world, it's not the most refined fuel in the world, but flipping heck, you can't be mixing stuff with it because you won't get the combustion, the aircraft won't get off the ground. Okay, so these are a few reasons.
Right.
The other reason is, as I said before, if you look at a military plane that's designed for refueling other planes in the air, you'll see that it is full. Like they used to use DC-10s for it. They used to refuel the Vulcan bombers during the Falklands War with a DC-10 that was literally from one end to the other was rammed full of tanks. And they had aircraft fuel in there that they would feed to the other aircraft, the Harrier jump jets and the Vulcans and this, that, and the other. They'd feed through an external tube that would come out from the back of the aircraft, and the pilots would link it into the little cup that's at the front of the cockpit, and they'd refuel. So you would need a plane like that to spray anything. Do you think how the vastness of the sky, right? You would need a plane like that designed solely for carrying that much stuff if you intend on spraying it into the atmosphere. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that people get confused between chemtrails, which I'm not saying they don't exist, but contrails, which is trails of condensation.
Yeah.
You have essentially, because it's minus 20, minus 30 up there. Yeah, they're flying at like 35,000 feet or 45,000 feet, whatever. So it's bloody cold up there. So if there's enough moisture in the air, and not forgetting that jet fuel gives out particulates, gives out all sorts of like pollution, yes, quote unquote pollution, and the simple fact of a scientific or a scientific process called osmosis, where water molecules are naturally drawn to other water molecules, right? So if you drop your phone in a bucket of water, what do you do with it first? A, take out the battery. B, stick it in a box full of rice. Why? Because the rice is so dry that the natural process of osmosis draws the water molecules out of the phone to balance. Yeah, because that's essentially what happens. So what happens when you've got a sky that's so polluted anyway because of the sheer volume of jet traffic that we have in the air now? So there's a lot of particulates, there's a lot of stuff up there. And because these so a jet aircraft will go past, it'll hit a particularly cold pocket of air, and it'll leave a stripe, right? And everyone goes, oh yeah, but those stripes spread out. Yes, they do, because other water molecules are attracted. Yeah, so there is do you see what I'm saying? The other water molecules in the atmosphere are attracted to the larger body of water. That's
right.
Yeah. So that's what happens. It's the sort of thing that you learn really in primary school, secondary school, or high school, as they say over in the States. Now, I'm not saying chemtrails don't exist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the things that you see left by commercial airliners, and you can track these things. You get an app for your phone. I don't have one, but I know my friend has. He's got an app for his phone that you see a plane up in the sky, you can tap in, give it your location, and show it what you see, and it'll tell you what plane it is, and it's off to Lanzarote, or it's off to New York, or it's whatever. So, if it, you can check it. You can check it yourself. If it's
I've heard of people using them. Yeah.
So if you see a contrail that is essentially what they call a persistent contrail, because there's enough pollution up there and enough unburnt and burnt up jet fuel up in the atmosphere, along with all the other particulates that are up there. The world's not a perfect place. There's always dust being created by deserts and volcanoes and blah, 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 blah. And any particulates water gravitates towards, and that's what happens. So you do get persistent contrails that spread out, and there's a reason that they do that. It's because of osmosis, which is a really like a high school grade, secondary school grade sort of thing to learn about. So it's just applying it in the right ways. Now, Rhinelander said, absolutely, if they've been cloud seed using aluminium and barium and all that kind of thing to cloud seed and all that kind of thing for years. I mean, a long, long time.
Yeah, and the difference is if I had used the term, this is geoengineering or cloud seeding, it would have been okay. But it's because I used the word chemtrail. It turns me automatically into a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, your tinfoil hat wearer.
I know.
Well, look, you can put a post up of this show afterwards, and I'm sure the debunking chemtrails guy will probably agree with what I've said. He probably won't agree with what I've said when it comes to the fact that military planes do that sort of thing and have been doing that sort of thing for years. But the idea that you could give £50 million to 3 guys in Exeter University and have that money go, like, even get more than a couple of planes off the ground, you're having a laugh.
Yeah.
The sheer cost of aviation is just, and it's taxed so much now that it's amazing that any of these airline companies even do anything other than struggle to exist.
I know. Yeah, it's mental. Anyway, I've deleted it, I hope. But he's taken a screenshot of it and he's blurred out Phoebe's face, but he's basically said a Cornish grandmother, Shelley Tasker, blah, blah, blah. And not only has he put it on his page, he sent it to me as a private message. Well, thanks. When you do things like that, you're ultimately out to attack people, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. Of course you are.
This is like
What about
COVID times. Bloody hell.
What about opening? You should just send him a message back and say, I'm blocking you, but thanks for trying to open a line of communication first.
Yeah.
Literally, just say that, because I'm not being funny. You don't want to entertain people.
No,
like
I don't. Those days have gone.
Yeah,
Crikey.
vitriolic, just self-serving keyboard warriors. They're my pet hate, apart from mobile phones, obviously. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. Social media. It's the first time I've had anything like this since COVID times, and I can't lie. It's like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, on with the show.
What happened to this whole sort of online safety bill, blah, 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 blah? Is he allowed to send vitriolic messages to you and spread your name about and blah, 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 blah?
Well, exactly. I suppose we could all share stuff.
Did he genuinely accuse you of child abuse? Because
his...
Not being funny, that is slanderous material. You should be taken to court for that.
Yeah, I'm indoctrinating my 2-year-old that doesn't understand. Well, how about the stuff that the schools teach them and stuff like that? I was only having a laugh, for God's sake. I did several of them, actually, outside the 5G tower. But do you know what? I'm not going to upload any of them. I had a creative head-on today, and I just thought, just for fun, and I'll call it Nanny's Curriculum. Just 2 little reels for fun. But I can't cope with the hate. And they're all out there, or they're always going to be. I've put things up before, like when my 99-year-old nan was alive, and she was paying me £15 a week to do her cleaning. I filmed her one day, and I said, as of next week, it goes up to double to £30 an hour. And it was obvious I was joking.
Yeah.
But people were all saying, you charge your nan £15 to clean her house? What sort of granddaughter are you? And all this stuff. And it was like, oh my God, she wants me to do it. I've not got a job. She's got loads of money.
Yeah.
Is that such a bad thing? And I'm like, oh, crikey. But most of the time you can carry on and ignore these things. But when I've seen that earlier, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I can't believe that he sent that to my private messenger as well.
What a nasty piece of work.
I know.
He's probably thinking the same about you, but then he's the one who's being a self-righteous keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. Self-righteous keyboard warrior. I like that. I'll write that down.
Loads of them. They're bloody everywhere, honestly. There's so many of them. That's half the reason social media still exists, is because you've got so many bloody idiot keyboard warriors out there that think that they're going to change the world by one of their posts or showing people what they've had for dinner. I mean, honestly, I don't have these problems, Shelley. Why is that? Because I don't have a social media. I'm not on social media. Yeah, just don't have any of these problems. I'm sorry you do, though.
No, it's all right. I don't usually. Like I said, this is the first time since COVID, and I just in the end, I didn't take any notice of it, but it's been ages, and it's just like you forget what people are like.
Yeah, you do.
Crikey. And I take things personally as well. And I'm like, oh my God, he said that I'm a child abuser and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'm not being funny. He's caused mental anguish.
He has.
He's caused mental anguish through attacking you without even making any effort to be in contact first and say, do you think what you've done is responsible?
Yeah.
Give you the opportunity to answer for yourself. No, he's just leapt for the jugular.
Yeah. It's probably because he went back on the post and seen that I deleted his comments. I thought things like that. My friend used to say to me all the time, just delete and block. And that's what I should have blocked him straight away, actually, but I just deleted the comments, and he probably went back to the post and thought, right, I'll have you.
Yeah, well, he went back to the post because it's so important to him that people have responded to what he's written. That's why he went back to the post. If not, he would have just made the comment, moved on, and forgotten about it.
And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I read so much stuff that is rubbish or I don't agree with, but do you know what? Just scroll on. Each to their own.
Yeah, jog on, folks.
Oh, anyway, how are you?
Well, I've had a better day than that, I have to say.
Well, my day was going relatively well until about an hour ago, literally. So hence I was very late coming to the show, but I'm here.
Oh, that's all right.
So have you had a good week?
I have had a good week. It's do you know what's been the nicest thing about this week is it's been a proper autumn week. So it's been cold, but we've had beautiful sunshine. and it's just, and all the leaves are changing, and it's just such a beautiful time of year. Such a beautiful time of year. So yeah, pretty blessed with that. My daughter has embarked on her 3rd week of college this week, so she's doing well. And all the troubles that she had on day 1, 2 weeks in, have been nipped in the bud. I'm so proud of her.
Good. I didn't realise she had any problems, but
no, the problem. She do you not remember me saying she attracted the interest of some guy on the first day? And bearing in mind she's 15 and most of these guys are 18,
right?
And she's been at home for 3 years, really. So it was a bit of a shock to the system, but she's smashed it. Honestly, so proud of her. She's she's just gone in with this right. Well, I'm me attitude, and I love it. I love it.
Good.
So I taught her I said to her, remember, on the first day when I left her, I said, remember. I said, you've heard me say it so many times, but I said, remember, confidence is a trick. If you walk into a room and pretend to be confident, even though you're dying inside, everyone else in the room will think you're confident, and therefore you're confident.
Yes. And every morning when Piran goes to school, I do this talk. This is what I say to him. You're the best. You remember, you're the best. You hold your head high. You smile. You're confident. You're prefect material. You're the best. You keep smiling, boy. I say that to him every morning. And when he stays the night at his dad's, I even send him a voice note for it every day. But he had an issue. I think it was the 3rd day. He was in the queue for lunch, and these 3 bigger boys were behind him. And of course, he's tiny, he's just year 7. And 2 of them started stroking his face and saying, aren't you cute? And touching his bag and everything. And of course, I came home straight away and I phoned the school, and they got out the CCTV and they spoke to the boys and their parents. And then apparently they came up to him after the school on Monday and flicked his ear and just said sorry and walked off. Anyway, I told the head of year this, and she said that, they've been told to stay well clear of Piran, and I've spoken to their parents again. So that was the one and only, touch wood, but he's gone in every day. And apart from that little incident, he's loving it. He was so ready for it, meeting new people. Yeah. So fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed it'll carry on.
It's a whole new. It's very different to primary school, isn't it? And it's a whole new sort of era for them. And as with my daughter, there's all these new smells, all this new environment that you're wandering around in that's completely alien, and all that kind of thing. So, so for Piran, it will be no different. It's these little changes, or these big changes. They feel like really huge changes at the time, and you forget how huge they were for you the older you get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, because I had lots of worries before, really worried. And now I just think, we take each day as it comes. Anything happens, I know I can just take him out. But, what's not to say? I think the problem is you hear so many negative stories as well. And because he had to endure bullying at the last school, you assume that it's going to happen again. Well, actually, I speak to a lot of people that is like, oh, my child flew through secondary school, had no problems at that school, So maybe he's going to be that one. Who knows? But I'm certainly not going to lose any sleep over it, I say.
He's just got to be him.
Just got to be him, yeah.
And you've got to be confident in the person that that you want to be. Be the person you want to be, and if anyone doesn't like it, eventually you'll just learn to tell them to get lost. And that I think that's the biggest. That's the most difficult thing, because everyone feels like that they've got to be accepted and all that kind of thing.
And that's what I say. Not everybody's going to like you. We're not everybody's cup of tea. When it's trying to make that choice, if somebody says something to you, make the choice to not let it upset you. You're getting older now. Don't emotionally react, because I think that was the problem before. But, they suddenly moved to secondary school, and it's like you've outgrown those baby-fied kids that you were with. It's a fresh start. So,
But when people criticise you, it feels like a personal attack, doesn't it? And you
yes,
feel
it
like
does.
I know. Sorry, Shelley.
That's all right. Yeah, it does.
It feels like a personal attack. Well, in your case, it was a pretty personal attack, I have to say. But it feels when someone says something you don't like as a kid, it feels like a personal attack, and then your sensibilities and you're upset. As a kid, you're more upset as to whether other people are thinking these same things about you and all that kind of. Will I be accepted by the herd, basically? So sometimes people sort of cower to that, and it's not until like a year in. You suddenly find out who all the cool people were, because they never bowed down to it at all, and they just stayed themselves. It's really important that he forges his own path, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think he's doing that. So
good lad. Well, give him a good pat on the back for me.
I will.
Yeah.
Bless him.
So you can hear me clunking about because the dog has just been irritatingly barking outside my door while I'm trying to concentrate on talking. Rude. How rude.
How rude. They just don't know, do they?
They don't.
I've had my cousin trying to phone me, and she's got a learning difficulty, and we took her out for lunch about 2 weeks ago, and she used to phone up when we all had home telephones and everybody had your number. She would phone up every evening, and she's only on the phone for a couple of minutes, and it's usually asking what you've had for tea, and she tells you what she's had for tea.
I put me dinner on Facebook, didn't you see?
Well, no, she's not on Facebook. She lives in supported, but she lives in supported living, and we took her out for lunch. And, we said we'll make a monthly thing of this. Well, she's very clever. She's gone home and gone onto my website for my photography and found my bloody mobile number. So every day now she's phoning me. And, I can quickly, just like I've just done, press the end call. And it is 2 minutes, but, oh, God, not again. When she used to phone years ago, it sounds awful, but I used to pass the phone round the house and Maddie would be going, no, not me, I'm not here. Then Wesley would be like, not me. And I'm like, just say hello, she's your second cousin. Bless her heart, man. But have to change my number, bless her.
And change your website.
Yeah, everything. No. If she keeps, I can cope with once a day if I'm not busy, 2 minutes. And I think she is my cousin, bless her. But it's just, always at inconvenient times, bless her.
Yeah. Well, that's, having said that, when you had a landline, it was never really, sometimes it was inconvenient because you might be cooking or doing the hoovering or something. But nowadays, because everyone carries their phone around with them, it's always a flippin' inconvenient.
Well, it is, and you know who's calling you as well. You never used to before.
No,
unless you had a posh phone. Yeah, I better answer that. It might be important.
Yeah.
So.
Hello, Grandma.
Anyway.
It's you again.
Yeah. Oh, bless her. Oh. Anyway, crikey, where's that half an hour gone?
Yeah, well, we're coming close to the bottom of the hour. I was just going to say, and you've sent me a couple of tunes here.
I have.
Yeah, which one would you like me to play?
The government one.
Oh, does it start with the words "we want"?
I think so, yeah. Keir Starmer is a wanker, I think it's called.
Oh, my goodness. We're not going to swear on this show again.
Oh, well, we're not. It's the song I found. I quite liked it.
Well.
I hope it's the right one anyway.
Well, I hope it's the right one. If not, we'll play it in a bit. You're stuck with whatever I press play on now, and it starts with "we want."
Right, okay.
Enjoy, folks. You are listening live to radiosoapbox.com and
Clear Air FM, the sound of freedom.
Yeah, wow. So amongst many, many other platforms, I'm sure, who syndicate the program. Really, really good to have you folks listening in. Here comes "We Want Something."
It's the right one.
Country back. Can't stop us awaken. Can't stop us awaken. Can't stop us awaken. And we want our country back. We watch the banners fade away. Promises lost in the grey. They talk of hope, but we see lies. Another dream that slowly dies. From the pubs to city streets, down to the sea. We're the ones who still believe in the spirit, in the fight. We'll keep singing through the night. Can't stop us, a wanker. Can't stop us, a wanker. Can't stop us, a wanker. And we want our country back. Can't stop us, a wanker. Can't stop us, a wanker. Can't stop us, a wanker. And we want our country back.
Welcome back, folks. I'm not quite sure.
Can't stop us, a wanker.
What's there's an extra bit to this, isn't there?
Can't stop us, a wanker. And we want our country back.
Hello? Seem to have lost you all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I'm not sure I actually caught what the chorus was to that song.
Oh, did you not? I came across that last night. I was like, oh, I like that. I'll tell you what, the lengths people go to. We were talking about hate speech and things like that, but it's a bit different.
Incredibly cliched lyrics, I have to say. But yeah.
Something a bit different, something a bit fun. He's not a very well-liked person, is he?
Well, I don't think he was in school either. He's kind of got that face about him, hasn't he? You know?
He has, and there's lots of stuff coming up now about his past and stuff like that. Not things I can remember, but I was scrolling through the other night and it was like, oh, okay. His links and stuff.
We're not supposed to have any faith in these people. It's designed that way. You're not supposed to have any faith in these people. All it does is instill helplessness in everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone, oh, well, what can we do about it? Well, with an attitude like that, how can we possibly fail? You know.
True.
You know. So
there we are.
I guess most people's answer is to get behind a flipping keyboard and start lashing out at other people and think they're doing a good job. Anyway, enough said about social media.
I'm going to be having bloody nightmares tonight. Anyway, Darren came and got my phone during that song and he's gone to make sure that it's all deleted and everything because I was in a panic. So anyway, all is fine. All is fine. I've calmed down. Yeah.
Good.
So you've got a hot topic, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, it is a bit of a hot topic. Actually, I was going to bring in a guest to sort of discuss over that with. So if we wanted to get on with or he might even be there ready now. Let's have a little look. Let's see.
I wonder who this could be.
Are you there, Mr. Sean Surplus?
I am here, Mr. Mallificus Scott.
Oh, I love the accent. Two lovely men with gorgeous voices on the radio. Right, it's cheered me up. Good evening, Mr. Sean Surplus. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Shelley. You know, at the start of the show, I always say to my daughter, I say, it's the Shelley and Melly show. That's what I call it, the Shelley and Melly show. You've got to love it. But yeah, you were going to bring me in for some reason, I don't know what that is for, Mr. Scott.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I was muted then. Sorry. Yeah, no, I was. I sent you a video yesterday. So everyone's been up in arms, obviously, about this whole Charlie Kirk shooting thing, and I don't want to spend like ages and ages on it, but because I didn't follow the guy. The first thing I knew about him is that he'd been shot. I've got to be honest. So boy, is my finger not on the pulse of the world, and I'm kind of glad about that. Really, being honest, because most of it is kabuki theatre. But obviously, this alleged assassination occurred. I did see the footage. It looked. Look, I'm going to put it this way. My mate sent me the footage of the actual assassination because it was all over social media.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, because nowadays that's what happens. I'm not. So my mate sent me the video. I said, "Who is this guy anyway?" And he said, "Oh, look, mate, you just have a look at the video." I had a look at the video, and do you know what the first thing I said? Because you know what I think about all these sort of assassinations, like for instance, the Trump assassination, or like when they nicked his ear with a bullet, or they put a blood sponge on his ear. I don't know, whatever.
A well placed sniper shot to make it look authentic. That's what I think it came down to.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought with that Trump thing, right? So I suppose we can cover a bit of it. With that Trump thing, the amount of iconic photographs of him punching his fist in the air while all his Secret Service were cowered round his waist to get the camera, so that the camera got his face in, etc., etc. Whereas really they should have been pushing him to the floor, going, "No, stay down, Mr. President."
Well, that's what I was talking about. Like, when it comes to his ear, it was just a well placed shot. You know, these snipers, they're even taught how to breathe, how to hold their breath, and slow their heart rate down so that they can get a pristine shot. And I dare say that he knew it was coming. They probably said to him in an earpiece or something like that, "All right, the shot's coming. It's going to nick your ear. So just be prepared. Just stay still." And you take a look at him. He was staying perfectly still while he was talking at that moment. And bam, he gets hit in the ear. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was all rigged.
Yeah.
So what are you saying, that you still think he's alive, Sean?
Oh no! We were talking about
Trump.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
The attempted Trump.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
said it would have done far more for his political, it would have helped us far more with his political career if they'd have just shot his toupee off. That would have been far more funny. But no, going back to so I always treat these things with a bit of skepticism. And the first thing I said when I saw the footage, because it was quite horrific, the footage.
Do you want to tell the listeners what the footage showed?
Oh, well,
Mr.
the initial
Scott?
footage that I got sent was a camera angle from directly in front of the stage, and you hear a shot ring out, and essentially
Down he goes.
crumples in. Yeah, he crumples into his seat a little bit, and as he ejects from his seat, shortly after about a litre and a half of blood ejected from his neck. It was not pleasant viewing.
And then all his security guards dived on him.
Yeah. And dragged him actually underneath the stage and pulled the curtain down over the back of the stage. That's an interesting thing, but that was from the other bit of footage I got sent later in the week. But anyway, so that's what occurred, and that's what I saw in front of me. And do you know what the first thing I said is, well, at least they got, because I'm always skeptical, and so I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm always skeptical. And I said, well, at least they got the blood right, because when they shot Ashley Babbitt in the neck, there was like literally just like a sponge's worth of blood on the floor. You get hit in the neck, so many major arteries, etc., are running through your neck, specifically the jugular on the left-hand side.
In all fairness, though, it depends on what bullet you're using. If you've got hollow tips, it makes a much bigger mess. If you've got...
Yes, I know, but if you get hit in the neck, the amount of pressure in your body, blood pressure that's in your body, because I said with Ashley Babbitt, that was the storming of the Capitol and the girl that got shot and blah. I said, there's not nearly enough blood there. That was my first thing. That's my first thought process. So when I saw this assassination of Charlie Kirk, I honestly said to my mate, oh, well, at least they got the blood right this time. Right? Yeah. So that's how I mean, I know it sounds cold and it sounds callous, but you know what? I have, you guys both know, probably loads of the listeners know, that you have all this stuff put in front of you all the time, and the first thing you've got to do is, like for instance, the planes going into the two towers and them collapsing. The first thing you've got to ask yourself is, is what I'm looking at real? So I tend to look at everything very skeptically to start off with.
But that's you, that's Shelley, that's myself, and people like Paul English and Andy Hitchcock. But most people don't question that. Most people don't look at it and say, is this real? They look at it and just go, oh, a plane just flew into the towers. That's how we've got to think of it on a level where, I'm not trying to be pretentious, but the thing is, we've got to think of it on a level where not everybody thinks like you and I.
Yeah, well, I automatically assume that they don't, and I'm always the weird one. I get that. But, so the first thing I thought is, God, at least they got the blood right. And then afterwards, it was just what a horrible thing to say, because I do genuinely actually now think that he probably did die.
Yeah.
But, without going into the whole political thing and the whole, without going into the whole political thing or the conspiratorial thing and who's in control of what and blah, 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 without even touching on any of that, I got sent a bit of footage this week by Misha Popov, and it was actually, I'll give everyone the address for it. So it is rense.com, rense.com, /general98, / all capital letters now, murder-weapon.php. So I'll just repeat that for the sake of the audience that are listening live. rense.com, rense.com, /general98, / all capital letters now, murder-weapon.php. So I got sent that little bit of footage. There's an explanation underneath it, which I think is fairly plausible. But after watching the footage, so this footage allegedly shows a gunman that was part of the security service, in fact, was part of the entourage that helped carry the body away. And it appears that he's got what they call a palm pistol, or something tucked into his hand with just the nozzle showing out from between his middle two fingers.
They're smaller than a Glock, yeah. Yeah,
they're tiny. They're absolutely tiny. They were made back in the 1870s, I think, so that Grandma could keep them in her handbag and feel safe, that kind of thing. Guns back then, they were so beautifully ornate and that kind of thing. You'd buy a lady's gun, it would all be mother of pearl inlaid and blah blah blah.
They could fit it in their purse.
Yeah. So this bit of footage shows this security guy. Who, as I say, eventually is the guy that is leading the team to take the body away. And it shows him essentially leaning against one of the fence rails. And just before the shot rings out, you see he adjusts the position of his left hand. His wrist forms an arc to brace himself against the post. And this is what put me in absolute awe. If this is a real thing, in one really fluid motion, he turns his head, brings this little palm pistol up, rests it on his bicep, squeezes it, puts it down below his bicep, and I think possibly tucks it into his shirt, whatever, and pulls his hand out. And it's not, and while this is going on, the audience behind him are in absolute shock. Most of them are in the process of turning away because there's been this big column of blood. And as he pulls back out his hand, this left hand that formed some sort of brace or anchor against the recoil of the weapon, doesn't relax until he's, in my own words, until he's sure he's made the kill. And then he snaps and releases that little grip that he's got on the post, puts both hands on the railing and jumps over to go and get the body. Really, actually quite a compelling bit of footage. I've sent it to you guys. I just wondered what your... I've just given away completely what my analysis is on it. It does look... The thing that I will say is that if it's a real thing, which everything is in sync, everything, it looks real to me. I'm like 95% sure.
Yeah, it looks real to me. I had to watch it a few times and pause it on the 5 seconds to kind of put it all together. But I've seen so many of these videos and these ideas, and just this morning somebody had shared a camera in the corner that they were convinced was a hologram projector. I just love it because everybody turns into detectives, don't they, when things like this happen?
Bloody keyboard warriors. But yeah.
But no, it's interesting, definitely. But no, that was quite a video, to be fair.
Yeah. And what did you think, Sean?
What's
your overview on the whole sort of scenario? Really?
I've only watched the video once, so you two are more professional on this than what I am. But I saw him go down. I heard the shot ring out, and he went down, and he slightly reached upwards, trying to work out what's going on with himself, as you would. Then all the security jumped on top of him. I haven't watched it any more than that. I said to you and Rhinelander yesterday that I've got to check it out more. I've been doing a lot more recordings out in town at the moment because there's so many police around. So it's kept me busy. But I will get to watching it a bit more. At the moment, I do think he died. I think what happens is, remember, he was a crypto. He was a crypto Jew. Now, this is not coming from Shelley, and this is not coming from Mallificus, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming from me. So they can't get themselves into trouble. So what happens is he was a crypto Jew as far as I'm concerned because he was hiding under Catholicism and acting as an evangelist at one stage. And he was guarding Israel and Judaism, and he agreed with the Jewish Zionism and everything like that. And then when people started waking up to what he was doing, he thought, all right, I'm going to backflip. So what he did is he turned tail, and then, of course, Israel would have hired the Mossad to pop him off, plain and simply. So I do think he died, and I think that's why. I think the Jews had him killed because they just couldn't have him saying what he started to say. He was turning tail.
I've heard that
Ooh.
also. Yeah, I've heard that he was asking, he was drawing attention to certain people funding certain things.
Yeah.
And that, he wanted to shine a spotlight on that. So
He was
yeah,
actually
I've
shining
heard
a
that.
spotlight. He was actually shining a spotlight on it in the end. He was starting off in a light fashion, and they can't have that. He was going to college areas, uni students, and starting to talk against what he was normally guarding, and they couldn't have that. So I think, they had him shot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Yeah, crazy days, absolutely crazy days. So yeah, I didn't want to spend too much because obviously everyone is going to. The amount of Charlie Kirk videos and conspiracy videos out on the net now. This was going to cause the shitstorm that it has. The last thing I'll say personally on the subject is that obviously there was this huge sort of remembrance pageantry thing that took place with some pastor and Charlie Kirk's wife and Donald Trump. They all gave speeches. And this is just a point that my missus made, right? If my husband had died, not that she's got one because we're not married, but if my husband had died, there's no way I would have gone out on that stage in front of all those people looking so immaculate with such a well put together speech.
It was an act.
She said, I would be covered in snot saying I don't forgive the bastard.
Yeah.
So
It was an act. By the way, you are married because you've been together for so many years, and you've had children together. As far as I'm concerned, you're married. But the thing is, you're absolutely right. This whole thing was an act. The first thing I said to my daughter, we were sitting there, and I said, "Hey Beth, take a look at this. Tell me that's a person that isn't acting." She was acting all the way. Charlie Kirk's
even
wife
to the
was
mopping
acting
the
all the way.
fake tears.
Yep.
Mopping the fake tears.
Yep, it wasn't real. It was not real. She's whether it's because of his life insurance policy or whatever that she's happy about, but she did not look upset to me at all. She looked like somebody out of Days of Our Lives, sorry. Right? She sorry, Shelley. I'm trying my best
That's
not to
all right.
I'm trying my best not to stain your show. But yeah, she looked like something out of Days of Our Lives, So no, I straight away I bit down on that. I said, "Hey Beth, have a look at this, darling. Have a look at this. There's no way that is not acting." And she was like, "Yeah, I know, Dad."
Yeah, a few people have said that actually. Yeah, very
Which begs the question,
interesting.
Is he actually dead? Did they bundle him under that little stage there so that he can? Yeah, are you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, just get this stuff off.
Hard to know. But the thing is, whether he's dead or not, it's the same thing that's going on with this Desi character over here. Whether he's dead or not, it's just holding up our time. So
Yes.
you know what? I mean, he's gone no matter what. They're going to, let's say he's alive, they're going to whisk him off to an ocean where he's going to be fed grapes by beautiful girls and everything like that. And he's going to live happily ever after. But in the meantime, he's out of sight, out of mind, and leave it that way. You know, I mean, let's have a little bit of entertainment with it, saying, okay.
He's with Epstein somewhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly, Shelley. Like, for instance, let's have a little bit of fun with it, with the entertainment of the idea that the bloke might be dead. I hope he is, because he was a crypto as far as I'm concerned. But if he's not, he's still out of sight, out of mind now. They're not going to bring him back into play, so to speak.
No, exactly that. And, you know, one of the things, the final thing on it from me, sorry. But final thing is, during Trump's little address that he gave, and they're all stood behind bulletproof glass as well. just for show, you know.
The bulletproof glass, yeah.
They were all stood behind bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
He said, I've heard a lot of things about, do it for Charlie. Yeah. That was part of Trump's speech. I wonder what things they're going to get the public to do for Charlie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What's your whole take on it, Shelley? I've got to know. You because your silence raises my curiosity, but and also remind me to talk about the penis junkie. The because I don't want to use the harsh terms I would normally use, like sea sucker. The guy that put you up on Facebook, I've got to comment on him, but I want to know your thoughts. Your silence is deafening. I've got to. Yes, it is. I've got to know what you think about the whole Kirk thing.
To be honest with you, I'm a bit like Mallificus. I didn't really know who he was until that happened, and then I've watched little bits and stuff like that. But I'm pretty convinced that he's dead. But the whole Epstein thing, you see, I don't think he's dead. Just because it was done under our eyes doesn't mean... I don't know. I'm in the middle of it. I can't, seeing that video, I would say he's dead.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about the politics about him and stuff like that. So that's why I'm quite quiet about it.
It's probably the difference between you, myself, and Mallificus is that I've watched this guy for a couple of years now, and one of the things I've continuously said about him is if he keeps defending Israel, Judaism, and Zionism, and the only reason he outwits people, not outsmarts them, outwits them, is because he goes to university students. They still haven't matured in mind yet. So, of course, he's going to outwit them. And then, of course, it makes him look like he's some form of really good, intelligent person. But really, if he was to debate somebody like yourself, Mallificus, or I, who are adults and have matured in mind, it would be a totally different ballgame, but he never did. He only, just like Ben Shapiro, he only debated. At least I'm using the right words, right? He only debated young people that haven't yet gotten to know what life is really about. That's the biggest thing I always had against him.
Yeah, fair comment. Yeah, like I said, I just don't know enough about him. Part of me wishes I did, but like you say, it's there's too many people out there, and we can waste our times on all of these people. There's so many of them that I'm unsure of. Some of them they speak the speak, they walk the walk, don't they? And you think I could quite believe, and I think you're coming from your heart, but then I'm always in two minds. I'm just suspicious of everyone.
Oh, come on, Shelley. We know you love Tommy Robinson.
I do not. But I do like some of the things he says and things, but I'm also convinced he's not with us at all, I don't ever share any positive things from, what other people say, because I just think I don't know enough. You need enough to support him.
You need to bash him for that one, Shelley. If you ever see Mel again in face to face, give him a good slapping.
I know. He might enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. But hey, before we move on, this person that put you up on Facebook because you had something to say about the towers to it was a granddaughter, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, yeah, chemtrails, yeah.
The whole chemtrail thing. Now, as I was talking with Mallificus and Rhinelander just yesterday, one of the things I can give proof to is that I have a friend named Andrew, and he was in the Air Force for many years. And he said straight out, he said, "You're damn right, we were spraying chemtrails," which means trails with chemicals in them. It's not just contrails. This is not condensation. And he said straight out, he said, "Yeah, we're spraying them. I'll send you some photos." He sent me some photos. And Rylander was absolutely right in what he was saying when he said, you can't use a commercial airplane. There's no way. You wouldn't have the room. These beasts that they use, these absolute huge beasts of aircraft, are huge. You can actually carry tanks in them. They're massive. And they had all of these chemical tanks, and they were spraying it into the air. Now, we had Al Gore go on to the Ellen DeGeneres show, and he said straight out, he said, "Oh, no, there's definite spraying. It's called cloud seeding. And the reason we do it, the reason they're saying they do it is to cover up the sun." And then even Al Gore himself, you know, the grandfather of global warming, he said straight out, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be covering up the sun. We need the sun for vitamin D and all sorts of things to grow plants and blah, blah, blah. Even Al Gore himself came out and said it, that they were indeed cloud seeding. So for this penis junkie that was putting you up on Facebook, he needs to just shut his mouth and get his facts right. Because even the people that we know are frauds, like Al Gore, were coming out and actually saying it on the Ellen DeGeneres show, that yes, we are spraying things and we shouldn't be doing it. So he needs to get his facts right before he starts putting people's pictures up there. And by the way, he's not safeguarded. He might be behind a keyboard, but there's been people like me and others that have travelled across to different countries and offered up ring time, saying, "I'll pay for the ring time as long as you're willing to get in the ring," instead of sitting behind your screen. So he might want to think of that too.
Oh, crikey. I wish I had your fighting spirit, Sean.
Don't be afraid of him. Don't be.
No, I'm not afraid of him. I just feel like I've had a right telling off. You know, I don't know. I just feel a bit sick in my stomach.
No, you've done nothing wrong.
I don't like people. No, I know. I was having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun anyway.
Well, it's a lot. You know, what you did was a lot. It wasn't nearly as bad as the woman trying to get her little baby to say black currant on a video. Go look it up, folks. Anyway, look, we're coming very, very close to the top of the hour. You're listening to the Shelley Tasker Show. The guests are myself and Sean Surplus. I suppose I'm not really a guest, am I? I'm here every week.
You're not the guest.
The co-host is Mr. Scott, and our brilliant guest, Sean Surplus. I'm going to play the other tune you sent me, Shelley. Is that good?
I think it is. It's by a friend of mine called Ruth Moonchild. We played one of her songs last week.
I enjoyed that one. I'm looking forward to
Gangster Mama. Yeah, it's quite nice.
See you after the break, folks.
See you in a few minutes.
You always cross my mind. Are you happy? Do you feel so alive? See, I daydream about you all the time. All the bad days have gone, and angel wings fly by. Angel wings fly by. All the hurt it always cease with me, and my broken heart, oh, she aches and she bleeds. See, there's no other bandage that will cover me. My baby, my forget-me-nots, I wish I didn't leave. I wish I didn't leave. I didn't looking for old shadows that I hold inside my heart. Looking for me, I'm looking wish I didn't leave. I got me looking for old shadows that I hold inside my heart. Thought I'd never fall in love, but you didn't leave. I see you looking for old shadows that you hold inside your heart. Thought I'd never give you away. Forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. I see forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. I don't know, forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. You're my forget me nuts, get me nuts. Wish I forget me nuts. I miss you. Why is it you always cross my mind? Are you happy? Are you happy? Feelings sublime. I'll fly by and you'll fly by. Baby, 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 angel wings fly by. I wish I didn't leave. I got me looking for old shadows that I hold inside my heart. Thought I'd never fall in love, but you didn't leave. I see you looking for old shadows that you hold inside your heart. Thought I'd never give you away. Forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. I see forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. I don't know, forget me nuts, get me nuts, get me nuts. You're my forget me nuts, get me nuts. Wish I forget me nuts.
What a beautiful voice that lady has.
She has. She's a beautiful person as well, inside and out. Yeah. So that's Ruth Moonchild.
Has she got a
Yeah.
website?
No, I don't think she has actually. I don't know Mallificus. I just see her stuff pop up on
goodness.
Facebook. She's been a guest before on the show a couple of years ago. But yeah, she's a good old writer, composer, everything. One of those very talented people.
Oh, don't you just hate them?
Yes. Definitely.
Oh, man. So, Sean, are you still with us?
I'm still with you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
So
Sir.
what's going on with Desi? Now, for those listeners that aren't aware, Desi is basically a chap that was served a warrant a couple of months ago now, or about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
He was served a warrant for a previous sexual offence, at which point he shot two of the issuing officers with a shotgun and managed to catch a third officer in the legs, was it? Something like that?
Yeah.
With the overspray. Killed two cops, two Aussie cops, one just a week off of retirement, one 35 years old with a young family, etc., etc. And he's been on the loose actually ever since. Went on the run, didn't he?
Can I just clear this? Is this the guy that you were talking about when Sean was on a few weeks ago and he said it was all like systems go? It happened near him.
Yes.
Right, okay. Right, I'm up to date. Okay.
Yeah.
So is he still on the loose?
He's still on the loose. The biggest, a couple of red flags for me is that where's the body cam, the Axon cam? Now, the Axon cam, for people who don't know, it's a camera that is on the chest of the police officers, and they can hit record anytime they want. Now, there were 10 police officers that went out there. 3 of them issued the warrant. The 2 got shot, and then 1 got sprayed in the leg through shotgun spray, right, pellet spray. But where's the Axon cam? I really want to know. So you've got seven other cops that take off after this guy because he takes off to the bushlands and then just apparently just disappears. And there's no Axon cam on this. And I want to know why. I want to know why this wasn't filmed, because so far I've seen nothing when it comes to any camera footage chasing this guy down. Now, let's look at this for a second. When I was getting pulled up for not wearing a helmet, one of the senior constables pulled the camera off his chest and the red light is going and he faces it towards me and says, "Why aren't you wearing a helmet?" Right? Now, if he can film me for not wearing a bicycle helmet, we're not talking about a motorbike helmet here. We're talking about a bicycle helmet where I'm doing 15 kilometres an hour because I've got 60 litres of water on the back, right? And he can film me for not wearing a bicycle helmet. Why aren't we seeing Axon cam footage of what's happened to this dude? Now, it makes me think that because he may have shot these cops, that they shot him directly and then just dumped his body somewhere. So that's why they're not showing any camera footage. Or for some reason, they just didn't have their cameras on, which makes no sense to me at all. So there's red flags that go up. But do I think that he killed these cops? I think so. Whether they called it historical child abuse in the end. If he thinks he's going to go to prison, whether he did it or not is irrelevant. He knows if he's going to go to prison, because he caused a lot of trouble around this part of this neck of the woods, and they probably wanted to see him disappear. The thing is, even if he didn't do any historical child abuse, sexual child abuse, he's still not going to want to go to remand or prison, because he knows what the prison is going to do to him if they think that he actually did do it. So, you know, it's got me, at the moment, I'm all up in arms about it. I'm thinking, all right, is he dead in a cave somewhere? Did he blow his own head off? Like, we heard some gunshots just the other night, and we reported it. We basically said, hey, there's some gunshots going off. You might want to check that out. I don't know whether you cops are killing him or whether he's killing himself. But then, like, at the moment, I don't know what's going on. But to this day, he has reportedly not been found.
Wow. So,
and as you know, Mel,
they're usually pretty quick, aren't they, to find somebody like that?
Oh, absolutely. They've got thermograph. They've got the whole lot. They've got the whole kit and caboodle. Now, if he's hiding out in caves, he'd want to have a huge food cache. Now, he's either being housed by somebody that knows him, or he's dead. As far as I'm concerned, they're the only two options, because there's no amount of food cache that you could have in even a few caves that will keep him alive this long, especially up here in the Alpines. It's freezing cold. You go into a cave, right? If you go into some in the mines around this area, it is freezing. There's no way. He's either dead or he's being housed somewhere.
Right.
Thank you, Detective Sean.
And I'm no detective. I'm just looking at what I see.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah, and Mel, as you know, I was shaken down for it. As you know, the detectives and the I sent Mel the video, by the way, Shelley. If you want a copy of it, I can send it to you too. They shook me down. What happens is I walked out the front, and they said, Sean, and I said, who are you? And they said, Sean, because they turned up in two unmarked cars, one four-wheel drive and another vehicle. And I thought, okay, this could be Desi himself for all I know. So I armed myself and I walked out there, and they came down the driveway and they started asking me if I'm Sean. And then when they showed me that they were definitely cops, you know, they had the Glock 9s on their side and everything like that, I said, all right, no worries. Well, I'm just letting you know I'm armed. And he goes, oh, you're armed? And he puts his hands out and goes, it's all right, it's okay. And then I pulled the arm out, and he goes, can you throw it down on the ground for us? So I threw it down on the ground. They said, have you got anything else? I said, no. He goes, can we pat you down? And I said, yeah, no problem. And you see it on the video. They pat me down, and then they start asking me all kinds of weird-ass questions, because this dude, this Desi character, had been on my property. As I was saying to Mel on your broadcast, Shelley, when he was filling in for you when you were on hiatus, straight out, Ray, that had his caravan out the back, had invited this Desi character to his caravan a few times. So I've probably met the guy but didn't even know it. So they had all these questions for me. And I said, no, hey, look, if you think I'm hiding him, come in. Come inside. I said, it's bloody freezing out here. You know, I'm a thin guy after the heart attack. Just come inside. They said, no, it's cool. He went and spoke to his sergeant, came back in, and it was all fine. Yeah.
Crikey.
Well, thanks for the update anyway. Shelley, I've got a few sound bites here from you. Do you want to cover some of them?
Yeah, we can do quickly.
You've only got a very short amount of time left, my darling. So...
I know. Well, I always think, I don't worry, because it's always stuff we can cover next week. But under the story of conspiracy theories, was you aware that yesterday was supposedly to be the rapture of the church?
Oh, I wasn't aware it was yesterday.
What about you, Sean?
Nothing happened for me.
I didn't know. No, I'm unaware.
Oh, it was viral yesterday because there was a guy, Pastor Joshua Michaela. I don't think I've pronounced his surname right, but he basically he's been promoting it everywhere that it was going to happen yesterday, and I'd never really heard of the rapture before, and I do like things like that, but these people have just been going nuts that are really believing in it, and they've been trying to sell their cars and stuff like that. Anyway, there's two videos. One is of
Probably a Rothschild buying them all up at pence on the pound.
But don't worry about the first one. If you play the short one, it's just a second one. It's a guy giving his input on it.
What's the name of it? I have.
Hang on, let me have a look
is it
here.
Rapture or Pastor?
It is Rapture. We won't worry about the pastor's one, but because of the pastor one, he's basically just been everywhere telling everybody this was going to happen on the 23rd. There's just so many funny videos going around on social media about what people are doing, and I mean, there's videos as well. I don't know how true they are because we are just so stuck in an age of is this true, is this not true? But it was believed to be in the woods yesterday, and all these people with their arms up waiting for God to call them up and stuff like that. Totally nuts. But obviously,
at the end of it, did they all go like, well, should we go home now?
No, I know, this is it. I haven't had a chance to check out what people think today because it didn't happen. And obviously, we've gone through all of these moments in time when, like, the year 2000, the world was going to end and other things like that. But the rapture is a pretty biblical thing, isn't it? But
massive. The rapture of
and
the
it
church.
doesn't, it doesn't state in the Bible when this is going to happen. But this guy has prophesized it. Anyway, it didn't happen, but there was just this one guy, his reaction, I just found it quite funny. So it's only a minute long.
All right, I'm gonna play it now. Hold tight, folks.
The Americans, I think they're losing the plot. They are convinced, I don't know if you guys have seen it, they are convinced that a rapture is going to happen on the 23rd of September. The sky's going to open up and they're going to go zoop into heaven. You guys need to start watching Scooby-Doo because these conspiracies are fucking crazy. I'm still trying to figure out how my Hoover collects dirt off the floor, and you guys are convinced that the sky is going to open up and select you as an individual and go zoop your big body, zoop into heaven. These people are selling their houses, their cars and everything. I mean, I don't know how far the dollars are going to get you once you sell it. I don't think heaven has a currency, but I can look after your money on the terms that if you don't go, or if you do decide to come back, then you're not entitled to your money back. I'm sorry, but you guys are fucking nuts, mate. Listen, the least of my worries would be something fucking collecting me from the sky, right? You need to be concerned about your well-being, mate. And also, why is it just America? Is that the only place they could put in on the sat-nav? America. I'm going to be honest, I have never met people that have fallen into manipulation with their own doing. They're manipulating themselves. I'm scared that you guys are the aliens at this point.
That's a great clip. You know, but when he's talking about, I've never known people to be so manipulated, blah 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 blah. Hello, 2020. 2020, the year of the certificate of vaccination ID. Yeah,
I just found it entertaining because, well, these conspiracy theories and people were so up for it. And some people are crying. There's videos of them crying, saying, you know, I love you all. And if I don't go, well, I don't know. It's just hilarious.
Here's one for you, Shelley. A mate of mine, when it come to the quote-unquote 2000 rapture, it was 1999, and he goes, are we all going to die, Sean? I said, we're not going to die. We're going to be fine. There's no such thing. And he's like, I'm not so sure. And he was a bit weird because he was on some drugs that he shouldn't have been. And he said straight out to me, he said, I'm not so sure. He lost his virginity that night. He ran out at the last moments of 1999, and he went to a hooker place in a place called Lavington, and he got laid. And he came back and he goes, I just had to do it. I said, you had to do what? He said, I had to get laid. He said, because I didn't want to die a virgin. I said, a virgin is just a state of being. What are you worried about? And he goes, yeah, but I wanted the feeling. I said, well, you got the feeling. I said, but you're not going to die. And then, of course, 2000 came. I said, you're still here. I said, and now you lost your virginity to a hooker. I said, well done. Well done, son.
And you've got syphilis.
Happy New Year.
It was a happy New Year for him. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh my God! And him and
Crazy stuff.
I laugh about it now. We just laugh about it. Like I said, I told you. And the next rapture that comes, don't go get a hooker. Just go down the pub and pick up or something like that. Or you'll probably still pick up the same diseases, but at least you're doing it authentically.
Oh, I love it. I love all these crazy things. And I mean, I love parts of the Bible as well. It does fascinate me, and I do wonder if anything like that might happen in our lifetime. Who knows? Who absolutely knows?
I look at the Bible. I look at the Bible as this. It has got some really good, interesting philosophies. Do I take it as scripture, pun intended? No, I don't. But the thing is, there's a lot of interesting things you can learn from the Bible, but there's a lot of things you can learn from Chicken Little too. That's how I look at the Bible. you know.
Yeah, fair play. Well, that was that little one, and then just this one. And I mean, we won't worry about the 6-minute clip, but
save it for next week.
Well, we might have moved on by then, but don't worry, this one will be enough. But basically, in Parliament, the MPs were debating a ban on first cousin marriages. Okay,
right.
So then a Muslim MP, Iqbal Muhammad, has been defending it, okay? So if you want to play that MP speech, this is what he says in Parliament.
All I'm going to say is, just my 2 pence worth before we play the clip, and that is, it worked for the royal family for eons.
Well, this is the subject of debate. Is it moral or is it immoral? But listen to what he has to say.
You know what? Yeah, I'm not going to cut, I'll just listen.
35 to 50% of all sub-Saharan African populations either prefer or accept cousin marriages, and it is extremely common in the Middle East and in South Asia. The reason the practice is so common is that ordinary people see family intermarriage overall as something that is very positive, something that helps build family bonds and helps put families on a more secure financial foothold. I would therefore urge the House to vote against this motion and to find a more positive approach.
That's it, really. But I just find it very interesting because the MPs that are debating this, that want it, totally got rid of, because it has been, I believe, it's going to happen in Switzerland, several countries, it's illegal to marry your first cousin. But the MPs are debating it because of the implications on the NHS that if you have a baby with a first cousin, then obviously it's genetic problems that arise. And if it's double the chances, basically. So actually do play that 6-minute clip, Mallificus, because she'll say everything that will save me going into it. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
Just different ways to look at it.
I'll play it now. I will play it now. Here we go.
Spend a lot more time on this now, and there has been a lot of talk this week about first cousin marriage. Richard Holden MP stood up in the House and called for it to be banned in a private member's bill, and yes, it is still legal to marry your first cousin in the UK. There have been various oppositional arguments that range from the state shouldn't be involved in these decisions through to this is an attack on minority ethnic groups. For me, neither of these have any merit at all. Marriage is governed by the state. It needs to be carried out in state-approved buildings, by state-approved people, meeting state-approved rules, and within that, there are already rules where it's illegal to marry a sibling or a parent. So the state is already involved, and there are rules. So it's not too hard to just add first cousins to the list. In terms of targeting minority groups, what can I say? I'm sorry that this might upset your sensibilities, and I understand that you may have done this for centuries, back from wherever you may have came, but we've evolved and we've discovered things, and we've put the safeguarding and protection of children over medieval rituals. I'm not going to apologise for that. So let's not ignore the fact that these marriages are often arranged rather than two cousins falling madly in love, and I am happy to point out that the cultures involved, whilst often Muslim, also include Orthodox Jewish, some Orthodox Jewish communities, and traveller communities, and it may also involve some others. And I apply this to all of them. It needs to stop. So let's look at the clear data first. First cousin marriages are far more likely than any other permitted marriage to produce a child with severe, disabling and often life-limiting disease. These are called recessive genetic disorders. Many of us carry one defective gene for a disease. Sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis are two very common examples. And as long as we marry someone who doesn't carry the same defective gene, the disease will not be seen in our children. The problem arises when the person we have children with also carries the same defective gene. And then there's no way out. It's much more likely, of course, that a close family member will be carrying the same defective gene as you. So it's why we can't marry our parent or our brother. Simple as really. As we develop communities in the UK that bring with them traditions of the past designed primarily to keep family wealth intact, and we have no legislation to say no to them, the problem is manifesting itself in the UK, with children who are destined for a life of misery and pain, often never leaving hospital or spending much of their time there, placing unimaginable strain on families and their other children and costing the state clearly via care and support. A quick dive into the data should be enough to ban it today. A recent BBC report for Newsnight found that British Pakistani communities had 3% of all births in the UK, but are responsible for just under a third of all children born with disabilities. This means that they are 13 times more likely to have a child with a disability than the general population. It was found that in Birmingham, where 49% of mothers, 49%, are married to a close relative, 1 in 10 children from those marriages dies in infancy or develops a serious lifelong disability. One of the most thorough and detailed reports into the problem was funded by the NHS. It was called the Enhanced Genetic Services Project, and it showed that in Birmingham in 2009 to 2010, the combined infant and stillbirth and death rate definitely are probably due to genetic disorders resulting from Pakistani cousin parents was 38 times that amongst white European babies in Birmingham. I've experienced a devastating result of first cousin marriages in a London hospital with a large Pakistani community where I trained on the wards. These children, who are often unable to speak, are fed through tubes, can be ventilated, are being looked after by the NHS for months, even years, often never going home. It's a miserable life that we should not be bringing on children when we can prevent it. For the children who do go home, the care needed is astronomical, from daily nursing, doctor's appointments, transport to and from hospital, special schools, all already struggling to cope. The list goes on, and the cost to the child is unquantifiable, but the cost to the taxpayer is also crippling. So surely it's a no-brainer, stop it today, but no. Independent MP Iqbal Mohammed stood in the Houses of Parliament this week to argue against Richard Holden. He accepts that causing disability in children is the cause, that it may involve forced marriage, but he wants to keep the law as it is and embark on an education programme. What a disgrace that a British MP in the British Parliament can acknowledge the pain and suffering being inflicted on children, but would argue for a medieval practice for no other reason, I assume, than to protect his vote at the next election. It's outrageous. It speaks to the non-assimilation of communities that is dividing the country into silos rather than the blended multicultural community of people who accept and live by British norms and values that we desire. By not talking about these issues, we will never change it. We will never protect children, and the status quo will continue. We've seen this already with the abuse of young girls. Let's stop this misery and disability that's been inflicted on children by just saying you can't marry your first cousin. It's so simple. There you go. I said I would do a deep dive into it. There's the data for you.
There we are.
Interesting.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
I like the weird and wonderful things. I mean, moral or immoral? To me, it's just immoral.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't marry your cousin. I'm not being funny. You know, there's something you grow up with. A lot of people grow up with their cousins. That's a little bit incestual for me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Having said that, I know a guy who actually, I went to school with a guy who did end up getting together with his cousin. and they fell out with all their family because of it. All of them.
Yeah, it's not just genetic. It's also psychological. You know, there's a lot of psychological value that goes into that. I said it with you on Shelley's show whilst she was during her hiatus, where I said, you know, some women have humpable voices. So when I listen to Shield Maiden, I think to myself, oh, she sounds beautiful. I love that sound. So why don't I just fly to the States and her and I can, you know, get it on? And we did a bit of that. But the thing is, you know, you listen to Shelley, she's got that accent as well. She talks about us two guys that have these, what she calls adorable accents. But I listen to Shelley and I think, she's got, so why wouldn't people just fly to the country of their choice and say, you know what, you have such a beautiful voice. Can we just base a sexual relationship on that for a while instead of humping your first cousin? It doesn't make any sense to me. There's no need for humping first cousins, second cousins, or third.
No. I just found it really interesting. But obviously he's Muslim and they want to bring their cultures into the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found it really fascinating. And obviously the opposing side is the costs on the NHS because it doubles the chances of genetic problems and stuff like that.
Oh, by the way, Shelley, before you go, because I heard that you're going to be leaving at the bottom of the hour. The song that you chose, You're the Voice, Try and Understand It, that was actually originally done by John Farnham over here in Australia. And
Yes.
But the girls that did the remake, they did pretty good. They did pretty good at that.
Yeah, I love that song. And obviously we got to be careful what we play, but covers were allowed. So yeah, awesome song. Anyway, with that, boys, with the gorgeous voices, I do have to go. A lady's got to go and earn a living. And thank you for your company, both of you. And I will be back
Shelley.
next week. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care, and I hope it goes quick, darling.
Oh, it will. I'll be sleeping soon. You're right, my lovelies. You enjoy the rest of the evening.
Good talking with you, Shelley.
Yeah, take care, boys. Bye-bye, and listeners.
Right, well, folks, you are listening to the Shelley Tasker Show. It is radiosoapbox.com. And also, you are listening to a very, very honoured and special guest, Sean Surplus. We're going to be right back after this break. This is See Your Life by Moulet.
Pretty soon you're gonna walk on by, and you'll know why it's time to turn it. Today I saw the eyes that held alive. They say it's perfect. That's where you taste the air. The moments there's and they belong here. They don't exist but live. Take a risk. What an atmosphere. The other week I overheard them say they love the way the dawn relieves them. Fresh face, they're here again. The time's the day, become freedom. That's where the old despair has gone away and left a moment. That moment now and here won't disappear until you stole it. See
go. That was Moulet. That's an old song now. So lead singer. Here, fun fact, folks. Lead singer was a guy I went to school with. He wrote the song, and I think did most of the parts himself, actually, apart from the drumming and the bass lines.
Nice.
So and was actually the lead singer of the first band I ever joined. So hence his music ended up on my website. So all that comes from the Pure Original Archive. Again, I will say, if anyone wants to get hold of any of the stuff that I play on the show from the Pure Original Archive, just give me an email and I'll point you in the right direction. So, yeah, welcome back, Sean. What do you think of that one, mate?
That was a beautiful song. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. As you know, I'm an avid purist when it comes to music. Love composing it. Love playing it. Yeah, I've got so many instruments in this house. It's not funny. I just don't have a drum kit anymore, Mel. How sad is that?
I'm gutted, mate, because I really need some drums at the moment.
Yeah.
I've got a mate here who can play the drums really well, but it'd be nice to have a bit of input from you. I guess I'm just going to have to get some vocals off of you for my album, my up-and-coming album.
Yeah.
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 I've not written. I've sent you a few tunes actually, and like I say, I think most of my lyrics are, there's something that a lot of my audience and your audience are probably going to relate to, just purely because I'm touching on those subjects. You know?
Yeah. What I want you to do, and I'm sure the audience will agree with this one, is that compile a whole list of links, or send me a whole crapload of your what you've got going on, the recordings, so I can work with them. As you know, I get quite busy sometimes. So, but if you send me all those links, what I can do is I can then start working with them.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I will do.
Yep.
So, crikey. So yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy week with all the sort of Charlie Kirk pageantry and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, the pageantry. Yeah.
Well, no, it was like watching.
It really was. It really was. Yeah.
I've never seen anything so staged in my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, it was Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Days of Our Lived.
And the thing is, what really frustrates me is that people just cling on to little sound bites of what someone says. They don't care what their agenda is.
Yeah.
They don't care what what policies they're going to end up pushing. They cling on to those little bits, those little things that mean something to them, and say, well, he's for me. And Trump going on about his fake news and this, that, and the other. It's no different. He's been doing this all the time. And as
Jimmy X said, as Jimmy X once said, sorry to cut you off, but I think you'll agree. I think you'll agree with this. As Jimmy X once said back in the days when him and I were on Oracle, he said, people are very selective on what they hear, even if they're not doing it consciously. They're doing it subconsciously. So what they do is they listen to Radio X, or they listen to TCTA, or they listen to Shelley Tasker, right? And what they basically do is they hear blah, 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 racist, blah, 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 supremacist, blah, 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 and they hear certain, they're very selective hearing. People need to listen to a show and then go back and listen to it again. It's like watching a movie. When you watch a movie and then you go back and watch that movie a few times, you go, I didn't see that before. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that little Easter egg right there. We have to watch this more. And then you go back and you watch, a Stephen King film or something like that and say, I never saw that before. It's the same with radio. It doesn't matter whether it's mainstream or otherwise. You have to go back and listen to it, and then you'll get to realise just how false the mainstream is compared to the alternative. But even in the alternative, you have to listen to it and know perfectly sure what you are hearing. Don't just be selective on certain parts.
Yeah, and also, do your due diligence, literally, and go and research what you've heard. Because if it goes against the grain half the time, people switch off.
Absolutely.
I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that. That's Sean Surplus. He's a bit crass. He's a bit.
Yeah.
But listen to it. And one of my best mates back in the day said to me, he said, if you enter a conversation without the idea that your own paradigm can be changed, then you're simply airing your views.
Exactly. Yeah.
Statement. And I like to think that because a lot of the celebrities have ended up dabbling in independent media.
Yeah.
Katie, what's her name? The one that stood up at the Tommy Robinson speech. Can't remember.
Oh yeah, Katie. Yeah. All right, we're both having a collective brain fart.
Yeah, well, because we don't pay any attention to her, so her name's unimportant.
Yeah, that's right.
Really, her main point of education was actually Sandhurst. If you look up her education, it just says Sandhurst Military Academy. Sandhurst is the biggest military academy in the UK. So, we all know where she's coming from.
Of course,
that
yeah.
That whole thing with Tommy Robinson a couple of weeks ago was just, it saddened me so much to see
Pardon me.
Britain's own
It was a
goodwill
farce.
being
It was
used against them. They had all the people marching for all the right reasons, but they're guiding it in the way that they want it guided.
It was the whole thing was a farce.
The weirdest thing. They're all going on about, Katie, whatever her name is, came up on stage and saying, this is what a London street should look like, because obviously it was full of white faces. That's what she was insinuating. Yet the entertainment was ridiculously multicultural.
Of course it was.
You even had the fucking New Zealand... Oh, I've just sworn, haven't I? You even had the New Zealand...
Such language.
Whatever it was.
Such language.
Whatever it was. They came and did the hacker.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with Britain?
You know what's going to happen?
And all the people stood in the audience going, oh, yeah, this is great, isn't it? Oh, look at them. They're showing their support for us. And it's like, hang on a minute. Don't these guys belong in New Zealand?
Yeah. You know what's
like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I know. And most people with the right mind know it as well. Your audience know it. And we're preaching to the choir, but they still need to hear it so that they can say, hey, this is a show that you can listen to understand what's going on, because they've got friends that don't know it. What's going to happen is Shelley's going to listen back to this and she's going to hear that you dropped the F-bomb and I haven't done it once.
Yeah, but you've sullied the show in other ways. Don't give me that.
No. I used the word penis. I didn't use the other words. That's
I've sworn the worst on tonight's show.
Yes, thank you.
I had to hold up my hand.
Surrender.
Yeah, surrender. Look, it's been a week of that for me because I was on Blackbird 9's show, as you know.
Oh, I'm going to be. By the way, for your audience, I'm going to be posting that on tcta.club. I've got all the notes. I've listened to the show and I've written all the notes out. I've just got to post it. I've been a bit slack because I've been busy.
So maybe you're going to want the disclaimer that I had to send to Blackbird for the following week's show. So when I was listening and watching and skipping back and skipping forward and blah 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 blah, the Tommy Robinson shill nonsense that went on. I stated on Blackbird 9 show last week, because it literally just happened. I'd just finished swatting up, went on the show, and I was looking through all my notes, and when I stated on Blackbird 9 show that when he said let's hear it for England or let's hear it for Great Britain, and they brought out the Ulster flag, which is kind of like Northern Ireland, and it's a British flag, but it's got like a Jewish star in the middle and a crown and a hand.
The Star of David,
So-
yeah.
And I was like, oh, so they pulled that up and said, and let's hear it for Great Britain. That doesn't make any sense to me.
None at all.
I shouted it out. No, I shouted it out on Blackbird's show, only to find out that because I've been skipping through because I went back, Shelley couldn't find it after we did our show last week. So I said, look, I'll go back through the video. I went back through the video and I watched it, and obviously I discovered at that moment in time that when he said, let's hear it for Great Britain, they actually brought out a Union Jack, but my sound was that far out of sync because I'd been skipping backwards and forwards and taking notes.
Oh, no.
So I had to send a disclaimer to Blackbird 9. So I'll send you the disclaimer for the show.
Yes, please. Yes. Okay. So in other words, we are with our equilibrium because I haven't posted it yet. I was going to be I was going to be posting it this morning. Literally, it's only 5:43 a.m. here, and I was going to be posting it. Yeah.
So my amendment basically just said, look, essentially I've just explained it to you. My sound was out of sync, so I got the wrong end of the stick. But Blackbird 9, because I sent him a message literally, I think it was Thursday morning, so it would have been a few days after his show, and I said, look, really important, I got it wrong, and I explained why, and this, that, and the other, and he sent me a little message back. It was a little in the form of a meme, and it just said, everyone makes mistakes. That's why pencils have erasers. And I sent him a message back saying, I know, all right, thanks for that, but this has really irked me. It's really peed me off. Like, so I sent him a disclaimer for his next show. So
there's a similar one that's out there as well. I'll have to dig it up. It's a meme that says everybody makes mistakes. That's why there's a thing called whiteout. I don't know whether you had whiteout in the UK.
It's Tipex. We call it Tipex here.
Tipex. Okay, so it's just this little bottle of stuff, and you just white it out. But now
liquid paper.
Liquid paper. Yep. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Shelley earlier on was talking about how she tells her one of her grandchildren to be confident. Be confident. Go to school. You'll be right. You'll be okay, and everything like that. And I thought that was pretty fantastic. But one of the things I used with my kids was this: you don't need to be confident to be successful. Just be you. Just go. Just do what you think is correct. You don't need confidence, because if you're doing what you think is correct, confidence will automatically come with it, but you don't even need it. You just have to go to school, and if they say that you need to do a speech, get up there and do your speech and be happy. Be happy with yourself. That's all you need. Yeah. Happy with yourself. You don't need to be confident to get up and do a speech. There's no such thing as confidence. There's only happiness. Be happy with when you write your speech out, whether it be about cats, dogs, trees, or whether it be about certain philosophies or whatever. Look at it, read back on it, time and time again. Give it a good read back of 3 or 4 times, and then say, right, I'm happy with that. And I'm going to get up there and read it because you're happy with it. Who cares whatever anyone else thinks? Confidence requires what other people think, which is happiness does not. That's one thing I wanted to say to Shelley, but I didn't get time to do it. And because I was writing down so many notes about all the great things you were talking about. And I just thought, no, happiness, just be happy with what you think. Don't worry about the audience. If the audience are not happy with you, who cares? Yeah, and I think it sort of goes along with what I was sort of saying about, everyone for some reason feels like they need to be accepted by the herd. And you find out a year or two into school, it's all those people that didn't want to be part of the herd are actually the cool individuals. Yep. And they've got something to say. They've got something about them. They've got something to say. They've got something, you ask them their opinion, they'll give it. And they'll give it wholeheartedly, I think actually the confidence conversation kind of came from me because when I dropped my daughter off into college on the first day, I said, "Are you all right with me leaving you?" Because I walked her into the foyer and we got to the right lecturer who was going to be taking all the kids in that class to where they had to be or give them a tour or whatever. Yeah. And I said, "Are you all right with me leaving you?" And she went, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I kind of didn't. You didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling it. Yeah. I wasn't feeling it. Yeah. But I walked away anyway because she's my daughter. Yeah. If she'd have turned around and gone, "Oh, can you just stick around for a bit?" I would have done. But she went, "No, I'm fine." That's when you know when it's more important, isn't it? It's more important when they say, "No, I'm fine," because what they're really saying is, "Dad, I don't need you to stick around and make me look like a lamer. Just fuck off." And she wouldn't say that. No. You just said the F-bomb. Oh, pardon me. So now we're bad as each other. So, but what I'm saying is not, she wouldn't say that, but she might be thinking, just go away because you're embarrassing me, right? All the other kids don't have their parents here. I don't want you here because you're going to embarrass me. But what you really know as a dad, that what she's thinking is, oh God, you know what I mean? They get that. And then isn't it funny? You were saying earlier too, that all of a sudden these 18-year-olds were swarming in on this 15-year-old girl. It's like, what the hell? Like, do these 18-year-olds not have parents that taught them better? Jesus.
Yeah, not in this day and age, mate. You're barking up the wrong tree there in the UK.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's same here as in Australia, Mel. Same here.
But I later found out that, you know, she was talking to me and her mum, and she said, oh, you know, when Dad left, she said, I was just sat there in my mind going, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. Because I told her, like, you know, if you walk into a room and pretend to be confident, people will think you are, and then the rest of it's a little bit more plain sailing. You know? Unless you come across a situation that you're not ready for, which was, you know, obviously an 18.
It can backfire real quick. I noticed with my daughter that when she got to high school, one of the things she did, she was thinking that she was going to go and meet new friends and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, when she didn't click well with them and they didn't click well with her, she folded back into herself. And she sat in a corner of the school ground during lunchtime all by herself because she was petrified. So it can backfire. You've got to be careful with it. As you know, being a dad, you've got to be real careful with the whole situation.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can't... I suppose at the end of the day, you can't wrap them in cotton wool. You just have to prepare them in the best way that you can, and hope that they stick. You know, as I've said, all my kids know the story of the Spitfire pilot who said, yeah, because obviously me being me, oh Dad, why have you always got to bring things back to war study? It's important. We learned a lot of lessons there, right? You know. Yeah. And one of the things I say is it's a quote from a Spitfire pilot. Someone asked him, he said, "Were you scared?" And he said, "Well, of course I was bloody scared."
Yeah.
He said, "But the mark of courage is carrying on despite the fact that you're scared."
Yep. That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah. In the face of danger, can you handle it or can't you? And and I guess like of course, I don't even guess. Of course, there's going to be some people that can handle things in the face of danger, and there's going to be people that can't. But don't doubt yourself just because you couldn't face danger at that time, because you don't know how brave or strong you're going to become later. That's one thing I was just recently saying, as your audience, if they listen to my show, I recorded saying, for those of you young people that are playing chess that think you're just going to give up because chess is such a complicated thought process, don't give up. Just keep going, because sooner or later you realise the traps, and you realise how to set the traps. So you always hold on to that, you know, Red Baron flying and everything like that. Don't give up, because you'll become brave.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and the mark of courage is carrying on despite the fact that you're absolutely
petrified.
You know, petrified.
Yeah.
That is you know, every guy that I read about, the guys in the trenches in World War One, all the people in military operations in World War Two, they were all scared.
Yeah,
all
of course. Of
course they were. You could have had your life snuffed out any minute, and you've suddenly had to get used to a life where all your mates are being snuffed out left, right, and centre, right next to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what terrified me on tonight's broadcast, or well, this morning's broadcast for me, tonight's for you, was your discussion on the Hoover. I thought, oh my God, they still make Hoovers? Over here in Australia, we had the Hoover vacuum, right?
Yeah.
And you just briefly mentioned the Hoover. It's like a Hoover, you know. And I thought, oh my God, they still make Hoovers these days? That's terrifying. Those vacuums were terrible.
I don't know whether they still, because originally Hoover was the guy who invented the vacuum.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
So I don't know whether they still make Hoovers over here. I mean, I know that there was that's a really crass and dreadful story for you and the audience, right? But this comes from my childhood. And there was a guy you always had the guy that always, he couldn't help himself. He just made life so bad for himself that no one could help but take the mickey out of him, right?
Yeah.
And that is this particular guy. I won't mention his second name. Let's just say his name was Paul.
Okay.
Right. So
English.
no, I didn't know Paul English when I was young. But let's just say, well, we can pick a different name if you like. Whatever.
I'm just joking. It's not Paul
I'm not going
English.
to give you the second name, but he used to want to impress people so much that he would lie about things that had occurred to him. Come on, we all knew people like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
But to be a good liar, you've got to have a bloody good memory. So he'd be permanently caught out on all the lies that he told about how cool he was, So he eventually made a rod for his own back.
Yeah.
So this is, we're coming to the crass part of the story, right? So one day, one of my associates, in actual fact, the brother of the lead singer that you've just listened to on the last tune, the brother went round to call for Paul. And there was no answer at the front door, but he knew he was in because he'd only phoned him about 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
So he went round to knock on the windows, and what does he find but Paul on his mother and father's bed with a dirty magazine and the Hoover.
Oh no! Oh, Jesus.
So there was an advert out on TV at the time that we used to use the punchline of the advert on him, which was "Nothing sucks like an Electrolux."
Jesus.
But it gets worse because
you have lowered the tone of this show more than I ever could.
Well, I beg to differ. I mean, you've done a fairly good job.
Oh, bullshit.
We get to sorry, folks. We're tuning into something authentic. And no, sod that. You've got something authentic. It's just maybe not as close to the political topic. So years down the line, right? Years down the line, we parted company. We all grew up and we left school and blah 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 blah, and we all moved out of our areas and I get a job as a chef in this pub, which is actually where I met my other half, my better half, as I always refer to her. So we're talking 27 years ago now. I bumped back into Paul, who was getting himself a job. This brand new, it was an old pub that had been refurbished, been bought out by a big brewery company. It had all been refurbished, and they took on a shit ton of stuff.
Yep.
And lo and behold, Paul is one of the barmen.
Shit, okay.
And of course, I'm there trying to hold myself together because he's a bit older and he's a bit wiser and blah blah. And then over a period of weeks, nay months, he ends up being the same person and trying too hard and making a rod for his own back, and everyone ends up thinking he's an ass. Right?
Right.
It's a shame, really. But at that point, I had to explain the Electrolux story. Yeah. So he earned the name, folks.
Yeah.
He earned the name.
Yeah. I had a mate of mine.
No, wait, Sean.
Yeah.
He earned the name Edgar.
Edgar, what the computer?
No, he earned the name Edgar as in J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh shit. Oh no. Oh no. I had a friend. Let's call him Gary, right? I had a friend called Gary, and he said,
"You've got 2.5 minutes."
Okay, I'll be quick. I had a friend named Gary, right? And we'll call him Gary at least. And he said to me at one stage, "Have you tried the vacuum?" And I said, because we were talking about masturbation, and he said, "Have you tried the vacuum?" I said, "No." I said, "How would it fit?" And he just looked at me and I went, "Oh, I'm very sorry." Obviously his could fit, right? So then I realised what I'd said. How would it fit? And he sort of looks at me as if like, "Oh, shit." I said, "Oh, Sorry about that, mate. I apologise.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, we ended this. We're ending the show on a really good note.
We are. Well, look, we've got about 40 seconds left before I play the outro. So, look, Sean, it's been really great to have you on. Do come on again. Do jump on again with us. As I say, Shelley takes hiatus for half an hour at the end of every other week's show.
Yeah.
Because she has to go to work, bless her. And,
Yeah.
Shelley, if you're listening, I hope you have a very pleasant evening at work, and I hope you sleep soundly.
Well, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks for having me, Mel, and thank you, Shelley, as well, if you're listening. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, folks, you have been listening live on RadioSoapbox.com to the Shelley Tasker Show with the co-host, obviously, Mr. Scott, and our excellent guest, Mr. Sean Surplus. Take care, and we will see you at the same time next week.